Perfect. Thank you everyone for your patience so far. I think we can definitely get started. Thank you so much for making the time out of your day to join us today for our compliance suite session. We are joined with Amit, who will be who will be rather taking you through the what essentially compliance suite is all about. But without wasting any more time, let me start with those introductions. All right. So my name is Nigel Chatz. I'm a product lead for SMBsecure and Beachhead, as well as a partner account manager here at CRS. I do help develop innovative cybersecurity solutions while building strong relationships with our partners. Essentially, I'm here to bridge the gap between the complex technology that we do have and real world application, ensuring that our solutions are rather accessible, understandable, and impactful for our clients. In doing so, they're able to extract the maximum value from our technology solutions, right? We are also joined, like I said, by Amit, right, who will be taking you through the presentation today, who is our Chief Strategy Advisor for SMB Secure, who rather provides oversight and guidelines rather to support our teams to develop and formulate global businesses and product strategies for SMB Secure in a nutshell, right? I also like to introduce CRS and what we do. For most of you, you are accustomed with us, but CRS is an authorized IBM training delivery partner, a RedHat and SUSE training partner. We also offer agile training through SAFE, and we are also a CompTIA training delivery partner with training centers in Centurion, Midrand, Sandton, and Cape Town. On the other side of the business, CRS is an value-added cybersecurity distributor, which we distribute world-class cybersecurity solutions to help you guys stay ahead and stay protected. We also enable channel partners and MSSPs to deliver on advanced security services such as your penetration testing and security consultations, right? As just before I hand over to Amit, feel free to jump in with any questions in the chat there, so that we are happy to actually accommodate that with those answers that you guys need, right? So feel free to make use of the chat bot for any questions that you might have regarding that. But without wasting any further time, let me hand over to Amit there.
Great. Hey, Nigel, thanks for that warm introduction. And so excited. I'm so pumped today. What an exciting day for us and the channel community here, as we announced first to our partners and introduced ComplianceSuite. Of course, the official announcement and launch happens next week with the media. So you guys are the first to actually see it, and we'll unpack everything today. Feel free, like Nigel said, to, ask any questions, seek clarity, and, let's get you selling and get your revenue going for 2026. So I think for those of you that are familiar on the session today with regards to SMB Secure, we were all about encrypting data, helping customers safeguard, protect, and defend. What we are doing with ComplianceSuite now is bringing in a new agile capability around governing that security or cybersecurity and compliance. So we're adding to the portfolio and the suite and making it a lot more simpler for everyone. I think just to frame the conversation to everyone here, the whole notion of ComplianceSuite really came across by discussions with a lot of the MSP community out there, as well as with stakeholders, trying to understand, what's challenging organizations, big and small, and where we could fulfill a very, very glaring gap. So if we look at some of the SMMA challenges that we see so often and we come across, in no particular order or rank here, definitely resource plays a massive role. In a lot of these smaller entities, they really have limited internal expertise, especially moving from just IT to something relevant like compliance. And they just don't know what to do and how to do it, and therefore need a great partner to come in and start guiding and working through those challenges. Another challenge is definitely the regulation landscape. Okay, it's it's enforced. It's become a lot more complex for certain industries, and it truly is now open in all jurisdictions. Whether we're talking about South Africa or any country within Africa, it is evolving and it is strengthening, which is a good thing. We do need those guardrails to safeguard people, to bring in a sense of professionalism and resilience. Therefore, regulation has been promulgated, widely, and we're seeing that with regards to the regulation, there's misunderstanding, there's complexity, there's people just don't know what to do, and so that's a massive challenge that we see with a lot of the SMMEs. Thirdly, there is quite a number of them are quite reactive. Okay, and many of them are not in a position to be what we call audit ready. They face many difficulties. If a supply chain partner or vendor sends them a questionnaire to complete or a spreadsheet to complete with cybersecurity and compliance related matters, um, they're really not prepared for that. There are other issues with regards to regulation and regulatory oversight. If any of the kind of governing bodies or regulators need to come in and audit them, they're really not in a position. And we find that they're quite reactive and they're scrambling to try and get responses and answers. And they'll probably be phoning you as an IT partner as well for 30 different things. More often than not, trying to push it onto you and getting you to kind of do most of the work, which is not ideal, to be in that reactive scenario. And then very clearly, they're quite vulnerable. We find that many of the SMMEs still, up till today, are lacking robust essential controls. Many of them think putting in an antivirus is what cybersecurity is, and it's so not the case. We deal with other industries where they think signing a consent form is compliance for data protection or certain acts like the Poppy Act, right? And it's so not the case. So if you kind of sum it up, these four buckets kind of make up the top challenges. Of course, there are others, but I'm just highlighting these four as being a major list that we can kind of work through. Um, if these resonate with you, give us a thumbs up or just kind of indicate, that these resonate with your customers and it's what you see out there as well. So looking at these challenges and looking at IT selling or traditional IT selling, it's important for you as an MSP practice or an IT services company to think about your future, to think about where your revenue is going to come from, and to think about how you actually go and garner new customers and new SLAs out there. And the reality is, if you're trying to do that with traditional IT services, um, you're probably going to be less successful. And the main reason is there are 30 other people around the corner from you or small IT businesses that are doing very similar things to you. And so you have to think about relooking at your strategy and how you go about getting that business. And one of the things we are advocating for with you is to try and get you to pivot to sell compliance. Why? Because it is relevant, because it is a business type of conversation, and because today it is a multi-billion-dollar business that you can go and tap. Okay. So it's important that you start to shift your conversations towards governance, risk, and compliance if you're talking traditional IT. It is important that you start selling cybersecurity compliance and not IT compliance or IT governance, etc. You got to shift that goalpost. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity compliance, of course, IT underpins it and cybersecurity underpins it. So the controls and the tools that you will sell for hygiene and security posture will naturally follow within the sales process. But it's not something we want you to open up your conversations with and something that you want to lead with. You need to shift that towards cybersecurity compliance. And the reality is what's underpinning all of this. Today, no matter which business you look at, any shape or size, all businesses must absolutely comply with some form of data protection law in any jurisdiction as a fundamental baseline. If you're looking at it from a South African perspective, of course, we have the POPI Act here. A lot of international entities subscribe to GDPR. If you're looking at different jurisdictions within Africa, data protection acts are enacted across many of the countries. And it is the fundamental law that drives cybersecurity or cyber governance. If you're looking at specific verticals like financial sector within the South African industry, there are newer laws and stricter laws now. So there is the joint standard regulations which apply, and it's very kind of specific with regards to cybersecurity and cyber resilience. But even if you're dealing with a small entity that says, I give a toss about all of this regulation stuff, they can come and find me, they can come and catch me. The reality, what is going to catch them out is that their bigger vendors that they would want to sell to or they want to supply services to, for their compliance, they would need to make sure that their supply chain is compliant. And that means they'll be pushing down a lot of that compliance, even to the small entities, even to the single person business, who would need to make sure that the basics are in place and that they have good cybersecurity and cyber governance. Or if you're looking at medium to larger entities, they're probably chasing after some form of framework certification, whether that is ISO 27001 or subscribing to the NIST framework, etc. Those are all part of some form of compliance mandate or compliance requirement that the business would have. If they have a cyber policy or cyber insurance as part of their business insurance, it's a guarantee that the insurer would be demanding certain types of controls and proof of certain types of controls in order to safeguard that business and to allow for payouts, etc. So in whichever shape you want to cut this, the notion of compliance painted in different shapes and forms and colors here all come down to that fundamental, which is data protection compliance. Okay, so it's important that you start thinking about that, pivoting your business, and looking at how you pitch going forward. Now, in order to support you, we've been researching this for several months actually, and we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to help our partner community succeed and to win. And we are very, very proud and very pleased today to announce to you first, our partner community, before we announce it to the media, the introduction of ComplianceSuite for MSPs. And this is your absolute best revenue opportunity for this year to start delivering what we call compliance as a service. Now, in a nutshell, for a lot of our legacy partners, it is fundamentally the traditional SMBsecure modules and capabilities, but it's a complete repackaging of SMBsecure. We've made a massive effort to simplify things and to provide greater value within the bundle. So for you, what does this actually mean? What does this announcement and your presence here mean on the session today? Well, it means that we are giving you something that is bespoke, that is simple to sell, much more easier to pitch, and very importantly, less technical talk. And we have proved this. We have actually done a few test calls, either with partners or with end users directly, to actually test the pitch. And what's interesting, and Nigel actually will attest to this, he was first-hand experience on some of this. When we actually pitched ComplianceSuite and we got into the compliance and governance conversation, I think there was probably only one semi-technical question that came up throughout the entire conversation, where in the past with SMBsecure traditionally, there would be a lot of features, functions, benefits, trying to motivate certain function capabilities within the products or within the platforms that we're trying to sell. And by switching it out, we had business conversations that were absolutely relevant. Now, for your customer, what does this repackage actually mean? It means that they're getting all-in-one value. It means that they're making an affordable investment, and we have a very, very good demonstrable, provable return on investment that you can showcase here. Even if they just use one of the capabilities, we can absolutely demonstrate that value in monetary terms. And that is important because small businesses need to see monetary return, not pie in the sky kind of things, and fluff. They need actual tangible return. And we can actually show that with some of the tool sets that we have. So Hopefully that lands very well with you and that you are excited as we are for the introduction of Compliance Suite. So let me begin to unpack it to you and kind of showcase what we're all about here. Now, it's important as we will go through, uh, you know, in terms of the swing with regards to the branding and the pitch. This is more about compliance governance, risk tracking, practical, effective tooling for your customer, and very importantly, providing audit evidence capabilities or management of that. And so, in a nutshell, Compliance Suite is about those four things on the right, those four tick boxes on the right, rather than any form of technical conversation. So, how did we go about simplifying all of this for you? Well, Compliance Suite actually has been so simplified that your new rate card, which CRS will provide to you, is so simple and easy. There are only two SKUs really on the bundle. Okay. And that is Compliance Suite and Compliance Suite Micro. More about that a little bit later, but just to give you a sense at this point, Compliance Suite is quite ideal to address, um, for instance, South African FSPs, right? Big or small, because there is the joint standard regulations that they need to comply to. And we've done quite a bit of work to gear this solution towards that compliance set. You could also target any SME in South Africa or throughout Africa. We bundle it in the same or similar ways to provide a consistency in terms of the capabilities and the capabilities around the product portfolio. It is upgradable and very scalable. Remember, while we are saying we are targeting SMMEs here, the tool sets underpinning the bundle is all enterprise class, guys, and ladies. So it is very scalable to go, to bigger enterprises as well. But we have tailored this specifically for SMMEs. It is sold in packs of 5, so very easy to predict your cost and your upgrade capabilities, and you simply would sell it from there. On the flip side, Compliance Suite Micro. And this was really led by some of our partners who sell into micro enterprises. This could be South Africa or Africa. And what is this trying to address? It's that typical small micro customer, about 1 to 3 computers or users maximum. They know more than that. An example of this could be a small attorney firm, with just 3 people. A medical practice, which might just be 2 people, a doctor and the assistant or PA. The micro bundle is a single micro SKU on your price list, and it's ultra low price. The thing about the micro bundle, it's bespoke to that segment of the market. It's not upgradable. If they need to get more capability or to get more functions, they will need to migrate to the full Compliance Suite product, so not the micro, because there's some certain simplifications that we've done within the micro packaging. With both of these, it's important to understand where we're fitting. So as an example, just to clarify here, Compliance Suite Micro is ideal for those sole proprietors and those professional type businesses, an estate agent, a small medical practice, etc. Sometimes they typically have no domain. Some of these people actually operate just with a Gmail address or a Yahoo address or something like that. They want it very, very simple because they want to do the least work possible when it comes to compliance. And you have to understand the makeup of that business. They're a small business, they're busy, they're running around. Compliance is the last thing on their mind. If they don't need to do it, they won't do it, but they're forced to do it, or they don't know they have to do it. They also want someone just to handle it for them. Okay, they typical in terms of outsourcing capabilities and outsourcing services. So that's kind of where the micro would fit. Again, I'm sure you'll have questions. Please queue them up in the chat, and Nigel and Kashifa will moderate towards the end. We do allow some add-on. So if the customer has got physical or virtual Windows servers, We still have the standalone add-on for Windows Server multi-factor authentication. The product or the suite comes built in with DMARC management or DMARC compliance. If your customer would need added domains, then of course they can add additional domains through the add-on. And then where the full kit is not included, like with Micro, then they can add a full kit at any point in time. What's important here is from a South African perspective, and I do apologize to our African partner community. It's just not possible to do it outside of the South African jurisdiction, but it comes embedded automatically with the cyber warranty built in at a really low cost. So even if you take all the technical stuff out of ComplianceSuite, just the value of the cyber warranty alone to address data breach, business email compromise, ransomwares, etc. There's just so much value in that capability alone. Just give me a minute. I just want to clear my throat. Okay, so moving along, looking at ComplianceSuite bundle in itself, it includes well over 50 technical and organizational type of controls here. So we can tick the boxes very nicely, from encryption to secure email to multi-factor authentication to phishing protection to dark web monitoring. It's all kind of included within the package. And there's so many tick boxes that we can check here. For the price point that you're get it at, it really is truly valuable. I mean, we've done a cost comparison if you had to kind of look at these components all individually, through different services, and we've compared some competing products as well. You are probably at around 1/5 or maybe even 1/7 of the price if you had to price all of these things individually. So it really is great value for money in terms of the packaging capabilities here. Let's give you some updates in terms of the platform for those of you that are familiar with some of the platforms already. So almost all of the platform vendors that we work with have been pushed really hard so that we can meet our objective of what we're trying to achieve with ComplianceSuite. So the Beachhead device security platform has just kind of gone through a massive upgrade with regards to the introduction of Compliance Easy, which is brand new. And that brings the capabilities around automated compliance posture assessment, framework mapped, and it's very audit friendly. So that capability alone brings a tremendous value and lends itself very well towards the compliance messaging. If you look at the risk assessment capability with the Televi platform, massive work has been done behind the scenes to provide you, the partners, with a consolidated risk tracker. So it now gives you a new button for a single view of assessed risks with drill down capability. There's AI-powered insights and ransomware. Even ask the AI, based on the assessment, how is this customer's posture towards joint standard compliance, as an example. And it will try and assess and analyze based on the assessments that it's already done. Obviously, there's some gaps because it's not doing everything, but it gives you a very, very good sense of how you can start leveraging AI within the assessment platform. And I believe that's turned on for some of you, but not for everyone, and that will become mainstream within the next week or two. Of course, we've done quite a bit of work with the integrations for 365 and Google Workspace, because one of the most exploited areas for your customers is those cloud accounts. The attackers are consistently after the credentials and the access through these cloud accounts. Take 365 as an example, giving access to the back end of your 365 infrastructure, but more importantly, access to emails. And that's where they conduct a lot of their malfeasance, right, with regards to business email compromise, spear phishing, etc. So the Televi platform has really gone through quite a bit of work over the last few weeks. And there's more, and more coming over the next few weeks. We're familiar with the roadmaps. It's a very exciting roadmap for us that the vendor is bringing through here. With regards to the security awareness training platform, again, quite a bit of work was done on the back end. But just to highlight, there's been a massive overhaul on some of the reporting capabilities and the introduction of what we call scam insights. Um, the new KPI report for security awareness training posture is now available. It's got phenomenal filters and gives your customer a great audit-ready report to prove their security awareness training. One of the things that we actually learned through a recent audit was where the regulator in South Africa, the FSCA, was doing an audit, and they needed evidence, or they want to see evidence of new employees coming on, going through induction and those kind of things. And we've done a lot of work to create a brand new report called a new joiners report. And this is there specifically to support the compliance mandates. So we're very, very aligned to what's happening out there on the ground with the customers and with the auditors, and make sure that we are giving you the tool sets that empower both you and the customer together. And we've done quite a bit of work on the front end as well, or the vendors done quite a bit of work there to provide more streamlined dashboards on the front end and simplification around that dashboard. So for those of you that are looking at it, you probably even noticed a change within the last week already. And then there's the toolkits. We have a variety of compliance toolkits here, from POPI Act compliance with regards to South Africa, joint standard with regards to FSPs within South Africa. And then for our international and Africa community, there's also the General Data Protection Kit that will be introduced as part of ComplianceSuite, natively built in. And there's been a tremendous volume of work here as well to support this whole audit readiness thing that we're after. And here there's a new downloadable compliance progress report, both for POPI and for Joint Standard and for the General Data Protection Toolkit coming, specifically for providing evidence with regards to Joint Standard 1 and 2. There is a new audit assistant tool and evidence tool that will be published within the portal very soon. And your customer and you would use that together. Because again, we've learned a lot of lessons in terms of audit. And when those auditors come in, they want certain things and they need to say evidence of certain things. So we've provided you a well-developed tool to aid that document management and that filing of that kind of documentation. The POPI one would be coming very soon. But just to give you a quick sense of how this tool actually looks, it's an in-browser app. And this one here is for Joint Standard. You can choose any part or any clause within the regulation or any step within the actual kits that we have. You can do backups of your data and settings, and search any capability or components. What we've also done is map the clauses within the regulation and to show you which regulation is relevant for that and how that will map back to the steps or the document that you are filing. So if the auditor comes in and says, I need to see your incident response policy document, or I need to see the executive training evidence, you would file that, and of course this would maintain the filing path. You can search based on the step or the action, or he'll come or she'll come with a question set from the regulation, and you'll say we need to see for section 7.2, and you'll type in 7.2, it'll map the regulation and says, oh, that's the document relevant to that section. Here, Mr. or Mrs. Auditor, here you go, is our proof and evidence of that. So this is a fantastic evidence tool that the team have worked on to provide great value and to support that compliance message. Hopefully you and your customers will reap benefits here. So switching it up from there to the sales opportunity now, right? Let's look at what the market opportunity for you, is with regards to selling ComplianceSuite out there. We know the facts, right? The fact is that businesses are facing increasing compliance requirements, including for data protection, cyber resilience, and cyber security governance. We also know that the typical issues that exist within these small businesses, the typical vulnerabilities, are not going away. Okay, in fact, they are increasing. With AI coming on, the pace and the volume that we're seeing some of these things happen at is now unsurmountable. So it's going to happen to your customer, and they're going to be under constant threat. And we need to make sure we're gearing them towards those defenses, right? We need to put up the fences, the gates, the doors, the dogs, the CCTV, literally everything to try and protect entry into their networks, into their systems, and into their data. So none of this is going away. In fact, there's a great evolution now already on ransomware. You might have been familiar with ransomware 2.0, which is about exfiltration and data locking, right? Encrypting and data locking. Ransomware 3.0 takes that to a whole nother level, which is pure data wiping across your systems. And the big warning for everybody is within the last 2 weeks, since the war has started in the Middle East, this is basically taken to another level. Literally just yesterday, a medical device company was attacked by Iranian-based cyber attackers, and they completely crippled it with regards to wiping all of their data. Now you think, oh, well, what does that have to do with us? I actually spoke to an ICU nurse literally early hours of this morning prior to this presentation to get her sentiments. So this company manufactures for hip replacements and knees and all these things. They are facing such a tremendous issue in the surgeries and patient care right now because of the hack that just went on a day ago. So the impact is real globally, and the warning signs are there that this war is going to move from a physical war complemented with a cyber war. And so it's not going away, guys. We need to be cognizant of it, and we need to make sure we are encouraging our customers to put up the defenses. It's important. So looking at the revenue opportunities, right? There's obviously a revenue stream with regards to compliance assessments, compliance monitoring, compliance reporting, putting in some of those essential controls. And a big part of it is operationalizing some of the policies that people would have in place. Now, ComplianceSuite itself can help in a lot of that, built in, bespoke, natively part of the bundle. You would complement that with providing on top of things like governance consulting, because that's not part of the core MSP or IT services. Governance consulting is something that you would need to put on top of to help them through their journey of compliance and to provide all the things that they would need going forward. Additional technical and organizational measures beyond what ComplianceSuite would be providing. This is where you would be looking at resilience, right? So looking at backup and recovery, that's not something that ComplianceSuite provides natively. It's part of your stack, most likely. You would provide that capabilities. EDR, antivirus, that's something that is coming from your stack as opposed to ComplianceSuite. So there's certain things in ComplianceSuite that's not there. Not too many. There's probably about 4 or 5 things that you would need to look at on top of. But you layer that as you go forward. And then longer term, looking at some form of incident and event management services or your SOC type monitoring services to complement the entire suite. And these are your tools, your services, which will be on top of the base compliance suite. And of course, you'll sell those things as a premium or at a top-up pricing. So it really is there to support your entire stack as you have today. We're not here to disrupt your stack. We're very careful about the tool sets that's included. We look at what most MSPs have already in the stack, but what they truly missing, and we also look at what customers don't have and what's practical and effective for them to have. And that's what ComplianceSuite is going to be there to deliver. And a large proportion is not so much the technical tooling. A large proportion of ComplianceSuite is the compliance type of capabilities more than the technical tooling. Right. Now, in order to gear you to, become successful, there has to be some guide, some form of a Bible that basically walks you and the sales team through how you can unpack this, how you can sell it, and how you pitch it, etc. We've done a tremendous amount of work here, and you will be provided with all of these capabilities and tools shortly, probably after launch next week. We'll make all of this live for you. But we actually have developed the South African playbook for you. So let's take an example of a 3-step success plan. Like this is just one example. There's more in the actual playbooks. So pick a vertical, any vertical you want. Medical practices, attorneys, estate agents, anything you want. Pick one, not many. Start understanding and learning that industry, what's challenging them, what pain points they face, understand exactly what they need to achieve and accomplish from a compliance perspective, right? So research and understand those pain points very specifically. Then, if you have the opportunity to engage or chat to some, understand the reservations and objections so that you can gear your rebut and your value pitch accordingly. Then from there, target five, just five. Learn from it. Map us in if you need to. We have great expertise to bring to the table. And then tune and refine the playbook as you need based on these learnings. Then you go out and you target another five. You reassess. You revise if you need to. If it basically needs more tuning, you repeat that process with another five and you further tune. If it works, replicate, go out, campaign, prospect, and start selling. And we've built these playbooks for you to really help and gear you towards a successful strategy with so much capabilities. So, talking about the targeting strategy, I find that many of the MSPs I engage with don't really spend sufficient time on this targeting strategy. It's so important. Okay, let me give you an example here. Let's take the micro enterprise compliance suite for micro, right? As an example here. So, you saw this thing now on the rate card. What do you do with it? How do you sell it? Where do you target it? Okay. What's important is that you start understanding a typical profile of who that would fit, right? So 1 to 3 computers or users tops. Okay. Somebody that's very busy, but they're friendly towards compliance. What does that mean? That means that the industry that they work with, either there's a code of conduct or they're very familiar with certain types of requirements, either because it's driven by the regulatory body or it's driven based on the kind of data they're holding, etc. There is quite a high awareness around POPI, especially, or they should be. They have very basic technical controls in place. Like I said, they might just have antivirus, EDR, or backup, and they think that's cybersecurity for them. And they might even just have a consent form that says, oh, we're POPI compliant, which is so not the case. They might not even have a domain. Okay, they could be using a Gmail address for email communication. They really are micro, they're small. They're unaware of the required technical measures, but they are vulnerable. They are high targets for scams, attacks, and data breaches. Uh, any guesses? If there's one person here that can maybe just guess an industry that this profile would fit, Nigel, if you can just unmute them and maybe they can give me an answer. Any guesses, guys? What industry would this kind of look like to you? You can unmute them, Nigel, if anybody knows. Any guesses?
We have Peter saying healthcare.
Healthcare. Okay. That's a very good guess, right? Take a doctor. Okay. Doctor's office, very small, micro. Doctor is very busy himself, either as a GP or he's a surgeon, always in theater. They're friendly with compliance because of the HPCSA. They have a high awareness of POPI because they're already kind of schooled around us from the hospital networks and the medical aids, etc. They do have very basic technical controls in place. They have just antivirus. They got 3 or 4 laptops or computers. Maybe he's working with a tablet or she's working with a tablet. Quite often, a lot of them don't even have a domain. You message Dr. So-and-so at gmail.com. And that's how you communicate, and that's how they send their scripts out, right? Which is a consumer grade, highly targeted, email. They're unaware of the required technical measures because their familiarity is around POPI, not around the technical measures. They are highly priced targets for scams, medical aid fraud, defrauding with regards to funds, business email compromise, of course, attacks, as well as data breach because they're carrying patient information. So if we look at healthcare, spot on the Peter. Okay, it's a very strategic opportunity for you. And I've done some work here. It's all about this targeting, right? If you look at South Africa as a market, There are well over 6,000 GP practices that are registered or they're on CIPC. 10,000 plus specialist practices, right? So that's already 16,000. There are hundreds of clinics and medical groups, of which within them they have individual practices. And very few currently have a structured POPIA compliance management. They know of POPI, and their thought of POPI is that form that you fill in when you go to a doctor's office. They forget about the data that's residing on those laptops, on their tablets, on the phone device they're carrying, the patient's scripts that they're transmitting, etc. So this makes compliance suites for medical practices a very high potential vertical market for you. As an example, yeah. If you look at the medical practices, what could Compliance Suite deliver? And I'm just going to read the purple parts to you. Okay, protect patient information. You can read the rest. Simplify POPIA compliance. They're based in South Africa. Improve governance and risk management, right? Which regards to improving visibility, compliance, risk policies, etc. Audit readiness and documentation management, both from an HPCSA perspective as well as from a information regulator perspective, or even a medical aid calling on, or the hospital group calling on some form of audit to that doctor or that practice. Reduce administrative burden to them by providing very clear and concise workflows, allowing them to focus on the patient care while maintaining regulatory compliance. And enabling practical compliance for healthcare providers is what it's all about. So we specifically developed some of these things so it can cater very nicely for an industry like this. But I've just done one example here. This could be estate agents, it could be travel agents, it could be whatever practices you feel that you're strong in. Research it, go after it, and the playbook will guide you. So we've done quite a bit of work in the playbooks, even for different industry verticals, and it will be available to you. It's not a thick read. It's under 10 pages, and it gives you very practical approaches, rebuts, guidance, etc. And even tool sets so that your sales teams can sit in front of a prospect call and very quickly have a quick reference guide around certain key things to bring up, to do some form of a quick assessment or an audit, and to move that to a winning strategy. So we provided you with sufficient tools there. Pulled directly from this playbook for you. Objection handling is a very critical one that you need to understand and know. When your customer says this, what do you say? How do you handle it? What about price positioning? Even if you sold this thing for 5 Rand, there's going to be a rejection. I can promise you that. That's the nature of small businesses, right? So positioning it is very important. Industry targeting, whether you want to go after attorneys, medical, law firms, all of those. There's quite a number of industries that we've actually done vertical targeting for you. We've done all the groundwork. It's in the playbook for you. So here's an example with regards to position and handling, right? How do you frame price? Okay. Risk reduction versus tool costs. So it's no more about now the individual things within SMBsecure. It's about risk reduction through compliance suite. Accountability and managed oversight, regulatory exposure avoidance. That's from a price perspective. Looking at the value delivery side, ongoing management, compliance aligned controls. So you don't talk about the tools, you talk about the controls and how compliance suite will align to them. Reporting and evidence, okay, which is an important component of compliance. So, these kind of things are all kind of explained and built out in the playbook for you. Use it, leverage it. We are proud to give it to you as our partners. Let's look at resources that we are making available for you. We've done a tremendous amount of work creating some really cool, really valuable resources for you. The playbook, as an example, is just one example. These will become available for you on your on the CRS SharePoint portal, which you have access through via the order form. There's a number of resources we're going to upload. We've prepared a pitch deck for you so you can use when you're presenting to a customer. Okay, specific healthcare sales deck, customer joint standard 2 readiness check, or if you're going down the POPI route, a full readiness check for them to run your quarterly business reviews, how you facilitate that, the guide for you as an MSP on how you can use a QBR to essentially gain value and to progress your customers. Okay. Lead generation and marketing guide, right? There's even a sales card that people can print, stick in front of their computer, laminate it, and they've got a very quick pitch sales guide. The playbook, as I mentioned, FSP Joint Standard 1 and 2 quick reference guide, SME Poppy and General Data Protection quick reference guide. There's the actual deck that you would use with your customers to conduct the QBR on a quarterly basis. Okay. There's the small business personal information template and examples that we're giving you. From a Poppy perspective, we're even giving you a guide on how to do that kind of stuff. So there's a number of resources we've invested time in. Again, it's all to empower you there. So just to start wrapping up here, ComplianceSuite is a key piece of the puzzle to improve your customer cybersecurity posture for better governance, risk, and compliance. But it's all about helping you, our partner, to grow your monthly recurring revenue. Okay. And the fundamental pitch for me today, it's all about audit readiness. If you walk away with one term and one learning from today and forget everything else I said, it's this one term, audit readiness. Sync that into your brains, and that is, whenever you go out there, that's your elevator pitch. What do you do? What do you sell? What are you preparing for? Audit readiness. Are you audit ready? Can you provide evidence of that, proof of that, etc.? And there's so many requirements out there for your customers, and we'll feed that into this governance, risk, and compliance framework for you. So it's all about that. To support that, there's so much things that we are doing within the platforms. But just to give you some kind of visuals in terms of the report capabilities that we are pushing all vendors on to provide you to give your customers, right? There's so many different type of reports, from an executive summaries to monthly training reports to framework compliance reports to a bespoke joint standard or Poppy output report. There's assessments with regards to logon activity, account security, where the logons are happening from, dark web monitoring, all of that. There's so many reports that we can give an auditor, and we're helping you to consolidate that. In each platform now, we have one button that you can press in almost all of the platforms to give you a concise compliance posture report that you can effectively give to your customer to provide to the auditor and help them through that compliance journey. What's important here is that you shift your sales language, okay, from technical speak to start talking about risk transfer, insurability. The glaring one there is regulatory defensibility. Remember that audit readiness, that's what we're trying to fulfill here. Financial impact protection, stakeholder trust and confidence. So it's really important that we, help you position and help you pivot to a new way that you sell or a different way that you sell. Now, all of what I'm telling you here is never going to make sense. You will never digest a lot of this unless you start having first-hand experience, firstly, but also confirming to your customer that you yourself, have a level of security and protection. Now, whatever tool sets you are using, fantastic, but I can promise you that you most likely don't have some of the ones that the ComplianceSuite is providing you. So, for you, we have the internal starter pack, ultra low price, and you cannot sell what you do not use yourself. Very important for me to state that. So guys, if you are not on the starter pack, please reach out to CRS or Nigel and make sure you order this for yourself. It's ultra low price for you to basically make sure that you get a sense of all of the tools, the reports, and understanding this a lot better. But most importantly, what do you get? You get ASP Kate. And ASP Kate is your live real-time assistant, AI-powered assistant that's there at any point in time. Okay, you don't know about something with the product, ask Kate. Okay, specifically trained and knowledgeable on the stuff. Unsure what to do for cybersecurity compliance or how to go about it, it'll guide you. Not sure where to start or even how to pitch something, it's will provide you all that education. What want to advise or get clarity or something on whatever, it will guide you accordingly. So Kate can assist you with what to do based on facts, why to do it, giving you easy and concise explanations, not long pages of stuff here, and how to do it. Now the question is, well, what's different to trying to Google this thing or asking ChatGPT? Well, the difference is this one is purpose built for you. It's specifically geared and trained with our stuff. It's not based on general knowledge. Okay. It taps a very specific documentation repository. It draws qualified information from this repository and links to embedded tools and templates. There's no unverified external sources. Very important that we have to put the guardrails in place, because the problem with AI is it can take opinion and over time develop that as fact, which we got to be careful about when it comes to AI. So it is constantly maintained and updated. Even with regards to LLM, we try to minimize any form of query corruption. This is where you make a query, it gives you an answer, it corrupts itself, and then obviously starts taking those things as valid answers in the future. And it is ComplianceSuite linked, so that's very important for you. So you get ASP Kate, and that's what we would be providing. All right. And I'm proud to announce that effective next week, there will be a brand new order form for you, which is so simple, so streamlined, and just straightforward. I'm going to give you a sense of that now just to demo it very quickly. And while I switch over, if you can maybe perhaps start gathering your questions and post them in the chat box, or ask them to Nigel in chat or over the air, and he'll start queuing them up to moderate that for me. So give me a moment. I'm going to just switch my screen now. Okay, hopefully that is showing. So this will be the new take on form. Realistic, really simple. Right? Remember I told you there's just 2 products really. So let's go ahead. Hopefully you all are seeing this. Nigel, just confirm to me you viewing the screen quite fine.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, here we go. Let's walk you through a simple exercise. Well, what do you want to do? You want to place a new order. You want to upgrade your pack. You want to place a standalone. You want to do a free external scan to prospect to your customer. You need to cancel some add-ons that you forgot. You want to completely terminate the subscription. Maybe they're downsizing, so you need to reduce the packs. You need to apply for a replacement license of the Outlook email encryption key. And also, you might want to have a phishing simulation done on them specifically. So you can put any of those requests through and it's in the form. Right. Well, what do you want to order? There's only 2 products now. Okay. You want to order this thing internally for yourself, which is the starter pack, or you want the compliance suite. Well, if you want the compliance suite, for which region is that customer? South Africa, Africa and international, because we do have different tool sets for the different regions. So let's take South Africa. Well, you've got for FSP, for SME, and you've got the micro. Which one do you want to order? Let's just take FSP. Remember, included in the pack, whether you want it or not, is DMARC management. It's included at no extra cost. It's included within the pack. And it's your call whether you want to use it or not. Maybe you are already doing DMARC for them with your 365 or something. So you feel, oh, well, we're happy, or they're using Mimecast or something and they don't want to switch to do that DMARC management. That's great. Say yes or no. Your partner name, whoever the salesperson is, name and surname, whoever's placing this order, your email address, your contact number, so we can verify certain things. And then who the customer is, so their name, the industry they're part of. This industry is important. Why do we gather this? For a couple of reasons. Even the security awareness training, we are starting to get into industry specific stuff. So we would actually gather training based on specific industries. For example, South Africa FSP would be getting joint standard training. So we need that delineation. And so when we provision the accounts for you, we actually automatically bind the industry. When do you want to start that subscription? the bundle pack size that you want. Okay, they sold in packs of 5. If you need more than 100, then just put in the amount there and away you go. So let's go 85 there. Customer domain. We need the domain because we're doing a lot of stuff on the back end to link systems, etc. For DMARC, the DNS management panel. For the warranty, we need the registration number, the VAT number if they want, the customer warranty holder name, whatever that customer name is, the official trading name or domiciled name, the email address, and their contact number. This is important because this goes onto the actual warranty booklet that we provide. Just remember, with regards to the warranty, there are some exclusions. We cannot provide the warranty for state-owned entities, municipalities, parastatals, utility service providers, anybody involved in gaming or gambling, adult media or adult entertainment, and organizations participating in illegal or illicit activities. So you acknowledge that. The VAT number is, if they, so I think there's going to be a cleanup on that one there. And then you go submit. It's done. So it's a really good, clean, easy form for you, and it's pretty much done. Okay. So hopefully that kind of gives you a sense of things. Okay, and to conclude now, I'll hand back to Nigel and all of you to go through any questions if you have. Top of the hour, we might not have too many, or might not be able to take too many, but please go ahead. For those of you that want to stay on, continue. Thank you everyone for paying attention and giving me your ears. Hand back to Nigel now.
Thank you so much, Amit there. Yes, guys, feel free to jump in with those questions and we'll be happy to actually attend to those.
Again, you can post those questions in chat, or you could unmute and ask the question directly to Nigel or myself or Kashifa on the back end.
Perfect. So we do have one from Craig, who's asking, does the micro pack meet all the requirements of the cyber warranty?
In terms of what we're warranting, Craig, yes, from our perspective, but there will be some additional stuff in terms of having antivirus, etc., which is generally required by any kind of cyber insurance. So there is a checklist that we provide, and you will have that checklist. So a combination of what's the ComplianceSuite provides, plus a few additional things like making sure you've got backups, making sure you've got strong passwords. Those are policy related things as opposed to technical related things. So remember those TOMs I was talking about, technical and organizational measures. There's a basic checklist in place for that. Hopefully that answers you, Craig.